the Jaguars are united on the bluffs of the mighty Mississippi to defend their turf. And this fall, they stalk in unison. This fall, they strike with ferocity. This fall, Jaguars proud as well.
Touchdown run. That's a lot of effort, a lot of determination.
This is Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm.
That's right. Welcome to Inside the Jaguar Nation. He's Morgan Beard, of course. I'm Brian Holland. Aaron Lee to join us here in a second. But the Jaguars looking for something to build on. Remember, SWAC play right around the corner. You take on Alcorn State next week. But you got to find some of those new positives. And by the way, I'm going to find an old face in these highlights.
Oh, yes. As always, you know who we're going to be talking about. Southern on the road once again, taking on UT San Antonio, this time as the underdog once again.
Yeah, Jaguars, Roadrunners there in the Alamo Dome. They got the lights, the smoke, the camera, the action. How about early on, Kerry Thomas Jr. catches 30-yard pass from Dalton Sturm. And just like that, 7-0 UTSA. Roadrunners would score again quickly. 8-yard run up the gut to Jalen Rhodes, putting them up 14-0. And remember, no Austin Howard. This is Darquez Lee. He's a freshman. Unfortunately, a freshman mistake right there with the interception. So it didn't start off well.
Yeah, but here's something to cheer about, Brian. Third quarter now. Here's that old face we're talking about. Danny Johnson snatching the ball out of the air. He had 7 picks last year. He's doing it again. He said he wants more this year. I think 11 to 12 is what he said. Well, he's on the way if he can keep doing this every week. Danny Johnson taking it back to the house with a pick 6. And then late in the fourth, they're adding some points here. Cesar Barajas adding the 3 points with a 45-yard field goal. And ending finally on a bright note for the Jags. Tevin Horton finding that edge, using that speed, 24 yards, it's a touchdown. UTSA, though, wins 51-17.
Man, we hurt, man. They beat our football team, so, just to come out here and we play for pride, man. They're a good football team, physical football team, and, I really thought, again, man, when you play against these teams, something good got to happen early, and it did. We weren't able to move the ball. Didn't play very well offensive or defensive, but, they fought. They're going to keep fighting. I don't have to worry about them doing that. But then we turn the conference play. We got to get ready. Well, I thought we came out in the second half and played football, but, they take their starters out. So they put their backup in. You got a chance to be very competitive. Got to grow up quick. Got a tough team next week. We'll be ready, though. When it's conference time, I think we're going to take the right steps. I think we start playing back down on level competition. Hopefully that means that we'll be ready to play a whole lot more spirited football.
Hey, and now we bring in our Southern insider. You saw this man's face all last week, and here he is in studio, Aaron Lee. And Aaron, I know the Jags wanted to keep it close on that on the scoreboard, but what did you see out there?
What I saw today was fight.
Yeah.
I mean, given the circumstances, they could have given up.
Yeah.
They started another young quarterback, and then also they had several key major injuries on both sides of the ball. The Jags continue to struggle on offense. They have the Jags started another young quarterback in Darquez Lee, and he went 3 for 13 for 20 yards in the second half. Coach Odoms brought Glendon McDaniel in, and he went 6 for 13 for 45 yards. Still, the Jags don't have any passing touchdowns.
I think the front seven of this football team that we just faced, UTSA, is just, they're very dominant. I think 93 is one of the better defenders our offensive line has had a chance to block. I think 55 is a very good linebacker. I think he's all over the field. He made plays. You got to stand in that pocket and you got to make throws. Of course, our redshirt freshman quarterback started in Lee. He was getting hit. We brought McDaniels in. He was getting hit. So, it's like it's an overpowering. As soon as he catch the ball, somebody's in his face. So it's hard for those guys to get in the rhythm. It's hard to get the ball to your playmakers.
Yeah, that's right, from Coach Odoms. And Aaron, on the defensive side of the ball, not much better for the Jags either. You look at the little notes we have here for you. Gave up 335 passing yards on the day, and the Roadrunners doing damage on the ground as well. 196 yards, and also the 2 interceptions. That's just not going to get it done on the defensive side of the ball.
I think the physicality in the trenches is where you saw a difference in the ball game. They moved the ball up and down the field, and we couldn't manifest anything. So it makes it for a long game, you know, but I really think they had a lot to do with it. We struggled early, and it's been tough. You know, we're a little banged up, a little beat up, but second half, I really thought our guys, they didn't lay down, they didn't roll over, they came out and, you know, they continued to play with some pride and continued to play. That's what you look for as a coach.
And we always bring you the sounds of the human jukebox. Always a positive for the Jags. And thanks to Aaron Lee for stopping inside and giving us his inside viewpoint on the game. Coming up, we're headed to our first break, our exclusive one-on-one with our player of the game. We'll be right back.
You're watching Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm, with Brian Holland, Morgan Beard, Ashley Lyotis, and Aaron Lee.
Welcome back into the Inside the Jaguar Nation. You, of course, Morgan Beard. I'm Brian Holm. I've been talking about this guy over and over.
Yeah, Brian, you know, I'm not making fun of you. Broken record, Brian Holland. Just
it's like every week in the sports office, pretty much. He came up big in the big stage on Saturday. We had our prediction segment this week. I said Danny Johnson will make an NFL roster. That's my prediction. I just believe in his talent so much. He's really gotten it done there at Southern.
If I were a betting man, I would bet on that NFL on the horizon. And once again, Johnson showed why. And this week, he's our performer of the week. And we saw it once. Let's look at it again. The Southern down big in the Alamo Dome. Johnson having his first INT of the young season. And I said he wanted 10 or 11 or 12 of them this year. Remember, he led the FCS with 7 picks last year. So not only did he get the INT, he then returned it 61 yards for the score. And that's how the third time he scored for the Southern Jaguars in his career. Our performer of the week, Danny Johnson.
I just feel like we just still got to play better as a defense and as an offense, well, basically as a whole team. But, you know, I just try to give my team some spark just by catching the interception. I was just thinking score. So whenever I can just create them turnovers and just try to give us a spark, I feel like that's what I got to do for us to get points on the board. I mean, I just saw the quarterback roll out, so I was thinking, you know, it was a boot play action pass, so I just think get to the other side. When I saw the ball in the air, I just tried to attack it. I just see us getting better. You know, I feel like there's always room for improvement. So I feel like we're going to get better from here. I feel like we're going to come together as a team. We got, you know, a loss in our better game. So I just feel like we can just build from here. Yeah, I feel like we have good chemistry. You know, we have guys on the team that also listen. So I just feel like, but our leaders, we have to step up and play even harder. I just feel like we got to play better. So I feel like if our leaders are going to step up, the rest of the guys are going to step up. So I just feel like they're going to repeat after us.
Danny Johnson polished on the field. He's polished off the field as well. Coming up in your Inside the Jaguar Nation, by the way, our very own Aaron Lee taking you behind the scenes there on the bluff, showing you a different side of the Jaguars. That's next on Inside the Jaguar Nation.
You're watching Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm, with Brian Holland, Morgan Beard, Ashley Lyotis, and Aaron Lee.
Hey, welcome back to Inside the Jaguar Nation. A really cool feature coming up. A little walk and talk with our very own Aaron Lee over there on the bluff.
Yeah, but as you know, at Southern, a lot of stuff going on this time of year. So we're going to bring in Ashley Lyotis for more on what other Southern sports are in action this week. Ashley.
It's a busy week over on the bluff, but first, let's take a look at how a few teams fared over the past few days. The cross-country team staying close to home at the LSU Invite. The men's team came in 6th. The women's team, they didn't place. And volleyball took their skills to Tuscaloosa in Alabama tournament this weekend. The Jags lost to the Crimson Tide and Troy, both in 3 sets. This week, the volleyball team will have the SWAC Roundup in Houston with 5 other teams, September 22nd through the 24th. And soccer will face Texas Southern on Friday and Prairie View A&M on Sunday. We'll have more of those results next week on Inside the Jaguar Nation.
Why, thank you, Miss Ashley. Now, Dylan Beard for the Jags, a captain for Southern, has come from humble beginnings. A walk-on who earned a scholarship, has not only grown on the field, but he's grown off of it as well.
How can we keep this momentum going?
Just keep practicing hard every day and keep working at what we're doing.
What once used to be a quiet guy, now Dylan Beard has blossomed into a leader for the Jaguars. Whether he's joking with teammates,
It's like a pack mule,
or family,
water drip, water splash, water.
He has definitely grown out of his shell.
I went to Zachary in high school. You know, I walked on the Southern football team in 2014, the summer of 2014. I have 2 younger siblings. You know, I have other brothers that's not blood, but, you know, blood can make us no closer.
That brother Beard mentioned is Oscar Paul.
A humble guy,
Humble guy, crazy personality. We've been childhood friends since about 12 years old.
My brother right there, man. That's one of my right hand men. That's one I can call on at any time, and I know he always gonna be there. But you know, we got times where he feel like he could rap, but you know, he say he can pursue that career, but you know, sometimes I gotta give him the real. You know.
You got a few bars on you right now?
No, I ain't got no ball, man.
What about you?
You know, we on the field trying to get it. I can't rap, so I ain't gonna spit it. There you go. That's all you get.
That's all we get. That's all we get. The album coming out soon.
Beard is not like any other college football player. Yes, the 6'2", 250-pound tight end has all the accolades. All-American, first-team All-SWAC, and named to the Black College Player Watch List. But what makes him unique is his time serving in the military.
It was a good experience, man. You know, they taught a lot of discipline, you know. They taught me how to, you know, put my priorities in front of myself.
You can tell he's been in armed enforcement just because, you know, he's always on time. I never seen a kid late. He's always on time. You know, he's very neat. You know, he's a detailed person.
Well, the silent leader and lovable joker must have not studied the details on my defense. For Inside the Jaguar Nation, I'm Aaron Lee.
And thank you for your service, of course, Dylan. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Aaron. Coming up, we bring in our featured photographers, two talented guys, Perry White and Garrett Edgerton, telling a story of a different kind. You don't want to go anywhere. Right here on Inside the Jaguar Nation.
You're watching Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm, with Brian Holland, Morgan Beard, Ashley Liotis, and Aaron Lee.
That's right. Welcome back to Inside the Jaguar Nation. This week, we'd like to introduce you to another student athlete, Paige Hall, really with the Southern volleyball team there.
Yes, sir. For more on her, trust me, you want to stick around for this one. We're going to give you, you talked about it earlier, our very talented feature photographers, Perry White and Garrett Edgerton, with a little look behind the scenes.
One of those players that you wish you have at least 10 out of a 10 or 12 to 14 woman squad. She's the kid who knows how to balance, who understands time management, and education is extremely important to her because it's important to her family.
I would say my parents set the bar very high. My mom served 20 years in the Marines, my dad served 26 years in the Marines, and my mom has worked for the Department of Justice, Department of Housing and Urban Development, VA Hospital, and then my dad teaches naval science and owns a business leadership company in Jamaica. He's from Jamaica, so both of my parents are doing big things, and so it's almost not even an option to not be successful. Volleyball is always going to affect everything in my schedule because we practice for 3 hours in the morning. Then you might have to go to a meeting later and you have weights and everything together. You have to have your whole week planned out and ready because you are unavailable at so many times that when you are available, you have to utilize every moment to ensure that you can be successful in everything you're doing and not just your sport. Being a third grade Marshall Scholar, it's a huge honor to have been accepted among so many other students from HBCUs. I actually got accepted last year as well and didn't get to attend because of the SWAC conference tournament, so it's exciting to be able to go this year.
The fact that she's able to do so many things and still stay focused on her education as well as athletics is the upside. That's the plus to being the student athlete. Like she's one of the She's a fun kid to be able to coach and mentor at the same time.
At Southern, they want you to succeed. Everybody wants to see each other do better. And I've been to another school. I went to University of North Texas, so I know what it's like being at a school where you're just a number and they don't care about you. So Southern is definitely a family, and yes, I like it.
Yeah, you hear that so much. Southern is a family. All right, coming up next. Oh, we scout Mr. Lador's footman. He's been the thorn in the Jaguars' side. We'll scout, of course, the Alcorn State Braves and what the Jaguars obviously need to do coming up in next week's game.
Big time SWAC play. And speaking of the conference, before you go, here are the SWAC West standings on your screen. I'll run it down for you. Grambling State with the #1 spot, followed by Arkansas Pine Bluff, Southern at #3, Prairie View A&M, and then Texas Southern. Brian, what are you making of this?
Well, and Morgan, remember, these standings are out of conference, so they're going to be a lot different, I guess. Yes. They could flip upside down by the time you really get into SWAC play. I don't expect Texas Southern to jump up and grab that top spot. Obviously, you got Grambling State up there. We pretty much expect, of course, Grambling State to be there in the Bayou Classic against Southern at the end of the season, vying for that SWAC title game.
And of course, we're already looking forward to that one, even though we're in week 3. But hey, how about in the East? We're having Alcorn State 1-2, Mississippi Valley State, Alabama State, Jackson State, and like you said, Brian, no SWAC games so far, so a lot of this will change. But on the East side, Alcorn State, you think they got to be the favorites?
Yeah, oh, they are the favorites. Jackson State, watch them for them to jump up as well, and then Alabama State. They played tough schedules. We'll see who comes out of the East. It's kind of a jumbled mess right now, but we'll have more next on Inside the Jaguar Nation.
This is Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm.
Welcome back to Inside the Jaguar Nation. He's Morgan Beard. I'm Brian Holland. You know what they say about bad losses. As a coach, you can't let your team take that and let it bleed into the next week. You got to let one loss be one loss and not let it go to the next week. So then you start mounting those L's, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do with a loss is take it with you and let it snowball into an effect. So it's Sunday, right?
Right.
New week, new start. Look ahead.
There you go. How about this Alcorn State team coming up? They may have dropped their last game versus McNeese State, the Cowboys there. But the Braves quarterback, Lenoris Footman, has been a thorn in Southern's side. And last week, he, by the way, upped his career high in passing 424 yards. So he's on his game, Morgan. That's never a good sign, right?
He's airing it out so that Southern defense, Danny Johnson, we talked about him earlier, better be on his game because they're going to be throwing it out a lot.
Yeah. And they hung with the Cowboys of McNeese State, by the way. This isn't the footage. This is actually the footage from Southern and Alcorn State from last year. So this isn't the footage that they, and then this is, of course, the SWAC title game. But the Braves forced 3 fumbles against McNeese State.
Big plays.
So opportunistic, big plays on both sides, and you really just kind of have to also watch out for the penalties. Well, you thought LSU was bad with penalties.
Yes,
Alcorn
we did. We did think of
They were, but 118 yards a game, that's to a whole different level. And if you got one guy that can maybe take advantage of some of the mistakes, it's Mr. Danny Johnson. He was the bright spot. Just to kind of sum up this past week against UTSA, he was the bright spot, right?
Oh, of course. And going into the game, he is the shining star on that defensive side of the ball. And with Southern down big in the Alamo Dome, not many positives to take away. It's that man right there making plays and returning it back for touchdowns. 7 picks last year, and this year he's adding to his total, the first of the year this year, with the 61-yard score. So Danny Johnson will have to keep making plays if Southern wants to turn the season around.
Yeah, Mr. Lenoris Footman, on behalf of all Jaguar fans, don't find number 1 on the football field. You can find us here every week. For Morgan Beard, Aaron Lee, I'm Brian Holland. Thanks for joining us inside the Jaguar Nation.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fruget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fruget today.